Hey, welcome back to Venusian Wave. We're going to be going over your astrology and tarot for a couple of things. We have the final Aries eclipse finally ending in these transits, in these nodes. So that's coming up. And then what we've been one of the transits we have been waiting for, aside from the eclipse, is Neptune's moving into Aries the day after. So since it's the same house, we're going to do a double whammy reading. We're going to do astrology and then pull tarot for the energy and what's going to be going on during this time, the next week or so for each sign. So all of those timestamps will be below. And if you want further guidance in that, I will be putting out sign by sign readings. I'm going to change it up a little bit this month. Just like last month, we were doing just love and money. It's going to be more along that of those lines. And you can find everything on Patreon. It's in the first link below, where this will be all of those readings, whether you want to sign up as a free member or a patron. It'll all come, excuse me, it'll all come right to your email. And then all information to work with me one-on-one is below. I am going to be putting up a new service soon for couples or relationships. If you want to do a relationship synastry reading, all of my information is below to work with me. So you can find that out there, and the timestamps for sign by sign. I go by rising signs. You can also check out your sun and your moon if you feel more inclined. If you are a day chart, you may feel more gravitated towards your sun sign at most of the time. And I find that it's more that when you become aligned with yourself. Sometimes we overemphasize and we want to think we should be certain things because that sign is these things. But when we really lean into ourselves and as we grow, what I've realized is we can find ourselves more in the sun or the moon, and the moon would be night charts. And I can also attest to this, and so can my partner. So it's really interesting. And then if you're, of course, midday, right, you might feel this complete balance of, because I don't like to push aside cusps or that energy of transition. So that's all I have for you for that information. As we do, we're going to get right into the metaphysics before we enter the sign by sign readings. We have Aries. And we have the moon. And as we know, the moon is all about the front side of the body, the breast, the chest, the stomach that holds maybe some fear, some doubt, the chest, the vulnerable sides of what are you nurturing at this time? What needs tending to, what are, because those things can be all to do with avoidance, right? You could be avoiding something which can cause a mixture of those symptoms. And we'll combine it with Aries. So Aries is the head. So many things on your head. It's this one thing, but there's so many things on your head. So are you listening? Are you sensing? What are your senses like? What are you taking in? What are you allowing to disrupt your brain? Do you find yourself looping? And this is a huge time of karmic patterns. So naturally, oh my God, I love how this is coming together. I'm going to put this out separately as well, just like a clip. The stomach is a second brain. So whatever you're deeply healing at this time, and it's come back over and over, and you're so annoyed, exhausted, want to move on from it, actually needs maybe one more moment of attention. And it needs the energy to go into the place where you can move forward. So how do you need to express? What do you need to heal? What conversation do you need to be had, right? Whatever shows up, of course, we'll do sign by sign moving forward. But what are you processing in these areas that's finally ending a cycle, and now you get to continue on this new pattern? And this is this new beginning. This is being called, and I also agree with. I would never just say things I'm not in agreement with, and with a disclaimer. This is a new beginning. This is a whole new world. Our energy has been very much shifting. So you may have felt nauseous at times. You may have had headaches. You may feel like a lot of buzzing going on inside and a lot of change. You might find yourself needing to express in your creative ways. You may find yourself needing to meditate or needing to find those pockets of time to yourself, to process, to know what's your truth, what you think, what your intuition, your gut reaction, your gut response. And if you've been going against your gut and going against your natural instincts, that's going to be shifting. You're probably already in decision-making mode. If you're more psychic and attuned, I find that will experience this a little beforehand. And then of course, if things are happening within your degree, especially for Neptune and the eclipse, if they're like 4 or so degrees near the exact degree, which is 9 degrees for the eclipse this week, then you're going to experience more of a heightened sense, and it's not something you can prepare for. And I know this to be true. I've seen this, and I've also experienced this myself in ways. So just the last eclipse, actually, and this one. So let's do this together. We got this. So basically, something's adjusting. You're finally readjusting. You're finally attuning to your intuition. And I'm excited for everyone. It has been hard. It's felt like war. Aries is a war sign. It's the warrior. It's the ram. Faces things head on, even if whether or not they know they're right. They might feel righteous at times, but sometimes it's not about being right. It's about, because their opposition is Libra, so it's more of the balance. They kind of like to know a little bit more about all the sides. Aries just goes with their instinct, and their instinct doesn't need to be right. It needs to experience and birthed and born. It's born. All right, let's get started. Aries, first house. So let's do the astrology first, and then we will pull a card for the energy. Your appearance, your self-expression, your energy in life, your vitality, as yogis would call it, the prana that flows through you. Whatever's been holding you back or getting in the way or weighing you down, and maybe you've noticed what really lights you up, you're becoming very aware of this. The cycle of being in this understanding of yourself and how you show up and how you appear. You've been questioning certain things about how you're choosing to communicate. All of this comes to more of a wrap, and you finally have a much clearer view of yourself now. What that means now, you may be continuing to discover what that is along the way and over the course of the next 6 months. And then with Neptune for the next 14 years, you may find it, and if it's been easy for you, Aries, amazing, but you may find it even more easy to manifest things into reality at this time. It's all up to you and what you're willing to move through, what you're willing to step forward into. It really does rely on you, and anywhere you've been held back will become extremely apparent. And that may be because disillusionment can also be, which is 12th house Pisces, and now Neptune's moving into your first house of Aries. Disillusionment can also be like, where have you been delusional about even yourself? Where from one end you can feel like maybe you're not meant to be in certain rooms, but you are, so you are meant to be there. Right? This is just one way of explaining it. Or you may think you need to be in certain rooms, but yet you still have a couple steps to take, or you have a couple things to do or learn. So you will see, and you also may feel more secure within your sense of style, self, like how you express yourself. You'll feel more secure about that. How you even how you dress. For some reason, I'm thinking about how you dress. So you may feel like you have developed this very strong sense of style, and you're going to continue to lean into that, perhaps. But you may even appear different to other people. Like there's just this, something's going to land, Aries risings. Something's landing. All right, let's get a card about what is going to go on with you, what this energy is like. Ooh. What I see here is a commitment to a venture, a commitment to your future. And what this is going to bring up is what has held you back, what's been overly controlling, what values aren't helpful for this freedom that you need. Yet also not overlooking the discipline and determination it took to get here. and it took to create this. So you're taking that into account while also shifting the way it is that you view money, or view how you value yourself, or what value means and what it means to create value, a valued life. What do you want to commit to? What do you want to put your energy, your money into? What you feel your next adventure, as we have here at your door, and you know it's going to be a development over time. So another question could be, what do you need to commit to? And is it that gut response we talked about? Because this looks like you're going with your gut, and this is whatever is going to come up is whatever is testing you from continuing to move forward on that. And that's what Neptune's here to provide you, that extra support. So it will feel like this like moment where you feel so much like yourself, and you're able to use your energy that you have. The only thing in the way, and I wouldn't say it's in the way, whatever's holding you or weighing you down, is values that no longer match where you're going. So there's an adjustment there. And that's where we bring in that Mercury and Pisces, that mutability. So maybe you need to have, or are going to invest in, or going to choose to have more of a spiritual experience this month. Neptune is also, how can you add your spirituality into this? How can that become a very physical thing for you, even if it's just for you? It's something that you'll exude, and people will feel that energy off you more and more, especially if you haven't been in touch with this part of yourself in a while. Or and it may not be like so out in the open, right? You may very much keep it to yourself for now. But it shines through, and people can feel it off you, and they're going to be just so drawn to you this month, Aries. Be careful. But also have a lot of fun, of course, and let yourself be in this shift. It's the whirlwind of energy we've been feeling already, right? Pretty wild. Okay. Taurus rising. It's one of the moments we've been waiting for as a fellow Taurus rising. This is your second house of your material. This is your house. Or no, sorry, 12th house. 12th house. My apologies. 12th house. This is, yeah. Okay. 12th house of your hidden life. This is spirituality. This is loss. This is self-sabotage. This is that Pisces realm. This is everything you've been working on. What have you been working towards and on for the past year and a half? Especially for the past year to 6 months ago. What did you decide? What did you start? What have you been working on? And what also do you want to start working on? Because we know you always got plans and creations in the way. Uranus has been, giving you plenty of ideas along the way, and it will shift this year, which will be a nice little break too for your nervous system. So if you're really craving that, just know that there's a little break coming, but there's so much in your 12th house that it's really important. Something that naturally came to me is that you have a solid sleep routine, or you might want to set one up, or you want to just be able to know that your energy is going to be able to be used very well. And so how you prepare your body and prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically for this time coming for you, and that you've been creating, that you've been ready to meet. It's really important to continue to be in that groove and to allow yourself grace, but to understand where these extremes come from of doing so much and not. And it's very much your pace. But what is it that you need to provide for yourself in order to either keep that pace or find your own rhythm? Because you are finally presenting or coming out or going to be noticed for all of that you've been working towards, working with behind the scenes. You're going to be noticed for it. People may even, it's not in your first house, but people may even notice how you appear, and they're going to maybe even be very drawn to you because of your energy and because of what you're exuding and what you've been through and what you've been working towards. And now that you're perhaps starting yet another thing to work towards, because we have the eclipses entering your 5th house of creativity, and that's for another day. Your 5th house and your 11th house will have more creation to be developed at this time, or children for some of you. And over the next 2 years, though, it's okay, you know, if you're not ready right this moment. But this ending in the 12th house, 6th house axis is work. The way you work is going to have a little bit of a breath. Okay. Yeah. And you may find with Neptune going into your 12th house, what I've realized is that your instincts are your intuition. Your intuition is your instincts. So if you've been struggling with self-doubt or whatever it is that stops you from just continuing on with your expression, especially through your voice, right? If that, whether it's in writing, whatever, wherever your voice is being presented, right? It doesn't have to just be like this, your voice. It could be how you choose to express your voice. It's so important for your energy and vitality. It really is. And I think you've really begun to understand that more than ever. So you will probably be moving towards a place where you're going to be speaking on the very physical way that you see the subconscious in your field, or, you know, whatever direction that you're going in. You will know, you will realize, and you'll have realizations about that. Whew, that's so funny. Look, it just like fell out like that. It's so crazy. Okay. So we have the 7 of Cups, which is beautiful because we did talk a little bit more on the astrology. So one card, beautiful. And I think this is perfect. Your dreams. What do you want to put into action, and what isn't worth it right now? What isn't worth even having your energy remotely on? Also, writing it down or doing a voice note list to get it out of your mind. I also have to do this with you, so don't worry. I've done it before, but the clearer it gets, just keep, you know, rewriting what that is, or keep vocalizing what that is, and notice where you want to put your beautiful, fulfilling, soulful energy into. You'll really, and this is what I was talking about, you're going to see clearly the difference. It may become so apparent for some of you at times, the difference between, like, seeing spirit, like the spiritual things, like what's really behind whatever's being presented to you, what's actually the energy behind it. And I think that's what you, and what I mean by that is, like, you now see and are accepting that if behind this you're wanting to be seen more or heard more, because we're talking about expression, that you accept that perhaps that is the medicine that you're meant to. And you can't hide from that. You can't run from that. It is. So it's accepting and embracing in order to heal perhaps any worth about your whatever ideas are coming through, and to know that you can move on them, whatever it is that you choose to do now, because then you have another one. And any time that you choose, anyone that you choose is perfect timing. Doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, right? Doesn't want it, like, it's just time to shine. And I think that in a way that keeps you going, you know? And it's for you. And that's that Aries. Like, it's for you. Like, you realize, like, oh, this is what it is, you know? All right, Gemini, third house of communication. 11th house. I keep doing this. I'm so sorry. It's your 11th house. I even wrote this down. You know, I could make it easy for myself and bring it over here. So 11th house of your community, your environment, your good fortune, even visions that you may have had, your people at large. If you have had, for Gemini risings, if you've had a lot of change in this area of your life, whether you've changed jobs or you're at a place and there's been a lot of changeover, or the communities that you've been involved in with your hobbies or whatever you continue to learn about, you've seen a changeover in that way, or even you've, over the past few years have wandered around a little bit, maybe you've become more sensitive to your environment. Maybe you've noticed how you impact your environment as well. Also, for a lot of you, a part of this is bringing you maybe to a vision, to envisioning what it is that you would desire in this area of your life. Like, what kind of community would you like to enter? Maybe you're starting to look at it from that point of view. And I think it's an important point of view. If you've been, of course, providing and being of service for other people and what they've needed, maybe now you're finding what you need as a service provider, what would fulfill you as well. So having both options for people, perhaps, depending on what it is that you do, right? Or if you do one thing, maybe you find that you also want to be compensated or put yourself out there in another way, that, you can bring in money, but also at the same time, it's more of a passion project that could turn to a long-term thing. If you have any, inklings about that right now, or you feel like you want to you've been wanting to try something for a while, that could end up being a really wise investment. It can become not passion project, turn business. And it could become just something that really soothes your soul. And taking that time out for yourself, whatever it is, it only adds to these other areas of your life in a way. Okay, now let's see what's been going on and what will be going on for the next week or so. The energy, and then the theme of the next 6 months to 14 years for the Neptune, right? And that was both of those in there. So, okay, Gemini. Ooh, wow, well, that was an interesting one, don't you think? Look who we have at the bottom, Mr. Aries himself, without the Fool. It's been a lot of the Emperor, a lot of Mars energy. Okay, so we have the Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and you. This is about expressing yourself. You've possibly been holding back. There's perhaps this side of you that you've been mustering the courage to express. It's not a feeling you're unaware of. It's just about having the boundaries and not being, for some of you, it really is not being afraid to lose something or someone. It's either that or something gets revealed about you in a way that is very clear. There's a lot of shaping around what it is, your boundaries in your environment. And the clearer you are with yourself, you don't have to express them right away, but right when you're so sure with yourself, you'll get tested. And you may get tested right away, and you'll have to decide. And you have to be very clear, because usually when we become clear with ourselves and we have that test come to us, sometimes it can be a really iffy test, but all of a sudden that same person or that same kind of person in another body shows up, same kind of situation shows up, and you're like, I've seen this before. No, I don't care who you are. All of a sudden you're like, wait, I feel shifted. I feel changed. So whatever is being communicated, there's a shift happening. There's something coming out into the open, something needed for the context of any given situation that you will have this weekend. But ultimately, this is about you. This is about you revealing some things that are really necessary. And you possibly been hesitant to for a while. And you may find yourself wanting to be in more of spiritual communities or finding that community, and you might want to be in person. You may find that as a Gemini, you don't mind, you know, having your space, but you actually want and feel the desire for more physical connection at this time. So however that can happen in your life, I would highly recommend. Okay. All right. Astrology first. Getting ahead of myself, Cancer. I will not mess this up this time. We have the 10th house of career and public roles and your authority, mastery in your life, Cancer risings. Something, you're finally mastering something, especially how also you show up in this area of your life, how you express your authority, right? You may find that you've mastered and you want to learn something new, and you find yourself at the top of your game, and all of a sudden things are going to shift. You might get a promotion or you might get a raise because you've come so far and you've put in whatever you've put in up until this point. But there's something that happens, a situation or even an internal moment. I do sense this is more external, but we'll ask the cards, don't worry. Well, I feel like this is more public, where you really find yourself in your authority and you find yourself needing to express it, because this is the realm of the head, and Cancer ruling the moon. This is the moon. You're just so sure of your next move too. You may have been going back and forth. You may have been intuitively, of course, Cancer, moving through your life, but something reconnects, especially if you've been healing your gut, or if you've been focusing on what you really, how you really need to care for yourself. That will also come up. But it will just, the connection gets so clear, and it's almost like you have to commit to this, whatever direction is showing up. But also for those of you, you know, being seen for your role, being seen in your career, getting recognition, perhaps. You know, there's a reason for this sense of authority. And for those of you who suppress it or somewhere and been wanting to be in more authority, and you can't really jump off that cliff, or you don't, you know, want to, whatever way you want to go about it, maybe you do. But you start to maybe build your own shit on the side, where you can come into that more of that authority, where you can be a little bit more flexible and more free. Aries wants to begin things. So maybe there's a few things that you've been thinking about, and during this Neptune cycle, it might be time to like wander around, learn something, you know, add to that resume. I was gonna say repertoire, but I don't think that word makes sense there. All right, Cancer rising. What is happening with you on an energetic level? Okay. 8 of Swords, and then the 3 of Wands at the bottom. This is breaking free from some type of self-sabotage in your mind. This is a lot about karma as well. We're wrapping up some very karmic patterns. So this could be a long-held pattern, maybe for 8 years, maybe for longer. This Neptune cycle is 14 years. Maybe for the past 8 months, you've been in your head and out of your head, keeping yourself in that shell. Because all these Aries transits, like, oh, I don't know what to do, but it's time to come out. It's time to come out of your shell. It's time to move on. That thing that you can't stop thinking about. That's what's kept you in here. You're thinking about it. Cancer, you're meant to move. Mars is in Cancer. There, so much is happening. You might just be re-nurturing yourself constantly, but you know, the nurturance sometimes is now not only the action, the dreaming. If you want to dream first, dream. You know, trickle in a few days, few hours of dreaming what this would be like to move forward. And that's already a step. And then you really start to begin, because you're healing something deeply within your mind that's been causing you not to move on something that you have the time, energy, if you just freed yourself from this. And I think the recognition, you know, as much as I think you'd be you're someone who's open to really receiving it in that way where you do want the recognition, and now it's time to absorb the recognition and allow it to heal you, because that is what's going to motivate this. That's what the key is. Sometimes, instead of passively looking for it or, ignoring it or not allowing yourself to accept it, you really need to accept and allow yourself to be seen in this way that is vulnerable. How you decide to take it in, how you decide to receive, right? Receiving this idea. What kind of energy do you want to put into it, right? So breaking free from whatever stopped you in your mind from moving forward on this. This is something that, long time coming, and I think you know that, but I think now just is the best time, and also honoring the fact that you're actually doing it and you're not going to keep yourself stuck in there. Nope. This is the first step, because when you dream, whatever comes up, whatever negativity comes up when you're dreaming, that's what you know that's been stopping you. That's what's been going on. And then asking, where it's being held in the body, perhaps. And then stomach and the brain. The swords are claiming it's the brain. So you're finally going to see what that is. That's been kind of in your way, in your mind. It's subtle, right? Subtle. Okay. Good luck, Cancer. All right, let's do this, Leo. 9th house, your 9th house of travel, education, publishing, philosophies, astrology, wisdom. That's what's being lit up right now. You may have been educating yourself, doing some research. This is also a house of religion. Maybe you've been, and Leo risings and Leo suns. Actually, this is for all the Leos, but obviously, especially Leo rising. This is something I've talked to many of the Leos about, especially in their readings. There's this, Pisces actually have this too, which is interesting. But in a different way. Leo, that's why you've been in and out and dabbling around a lot of what does this mean to me? What do I think about this? And you're not quick to jump on a certain, bandwagon, and, you don't also love advice, but you need it sometimes. And sometimes it comes from the ether. Sometimes it comes from whatever you're investing your time in. Sometimes that comes with travel. And sometimes it comes with people, just like with you when you give it. So this is the area in your life that's been lit up, and now it's becoming more physical. You're actually seeking it, perhaps. You're seeking to maybe teach or be taught more. You may want to find yourself in community and make that a very physical experience, being an Aries, but also a lot of the ways in which you've been thinking and maybe experimenting with, you find your way, your version, you find yourself actually invested in this, and it comes to a full circle this weekend during this eclipse, and then continues to really deepen. So I know that we're not in these eclipses anymore, but it's going to deepen in another way as you continue forward, as we move into the next set of eclipses. And you may have noticed that there are people, maybe you've invited Aries or somewhere in Aries into your life, or maybe you know Aries in your life. And I love looking at it this way of, any Aries or major Aries placements that come into your life, they are kind of asking you, what do you think? What is your broad picture? They may provoke it. They may expand it. They may give way to another view even for you. So this should be really interesting. This could even be because it is, Aries is very physical. Mars is the muscular system. You may also find yourself wanting, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's more of a movement philosophy. Maybe it's working out, right? Maybe there's something, maybe it's martial arts. Maybe it's a movement and a philosophy together too. So just a thought there. Just a thought there. So let's go in, let's see what's going on. Oh, and then Neptune. That's what's going to be very interesting about this next 14 years with the Neptune being in Aries in your 9th house. It is going to have you very real experiences of what putting these, how this comes into your life in situations, you know, how your spirituality comes into play, how your belief systems come into play, how you learn come into play, and how that becomes a very real experience. And maybe you do find yourself wanting to teach something and also be in, you know, just be in service, be in class again. Maybe it's creating something that is the education as well. So just a thought. And then we have the Devil, this Capricorn card coming out. What I would say is anything that's been controlling you, confining you, constricting you in a very physical way, your deep desires perhaps, whatever's had a hold on you in these areas of your life. Because sometimes our attachments to the physicality, or maybe a father figure, this is the Father card, or a certain way of hard work or a certain realism can only go so far. And what you are understanding that maybe if it is about your father or a father figure in your life, and they've heavily influenced your way of thinking and and you didn't know that, that's where this all comes back to. That is where the back and forth goes back to, because we do have family at the bottom, but this is also the guide to your fulfillment. Sometimes what I even believe about being a reader is that, and even in my own conversations, I like to have conversations and not to be swayed or even asking something or even asking an opinion or something. And it's not for me to be swayed anymore. It's for me to really decide what my opinion is sometimes, to be really clear, like, especially if I disagree. So it's becoming very clear where you actually disagree and where you do agree, or where you don't care as much and it's pretty gray for you. You're realizing where the way you think and how you approach learning, education, travel relates back to your father, relates back to programming, or relates back to what your day-to-day life looks like. And that may all start to change. You may find yourself really, again, stomach, mind, instincts, intuition, because it's Aries and Cancer, Aries and the moon, and Neptune would be the feet. How you carry yourself forward, how you move yourself forward, there needs to be a balance based off so this is what's been your earthly desires, but what's been in control. Like, especially if you have like a habit that you've been wanting to break, now's a great time. Because Pisces and Neptune, it can, you know, just a little like, maybe escapism is just what we're doing. And now it's more like, you can escape, but you also don't want to, because it could be a lot of fun. It gives you more time and energy to invest in different areas of your life, the more that you see like how this has, whether it's been like an actual addiction that's been controlling you, or just a way of life that's just kept you in a certain kind of experience and you're looking for a different one or to enjoy in a different way. Yeah. And you're approaching it head on. And maybe it's the wisdom that you find through this. Maybe it's that wisdom or whatever you learn that really begins to propel you forward in this way. And it's almost like you feel more free. This is the Sag house, so feel more free. You may even find yourself feeling luckier too with this change. So I would roll with it, Leo. Leo risings. Okay, Virgo rising. 8th house. This is a big house. Honestly, the 8th and the 9th house are such a mouthful. I'm just like, what is going on in this area? Especially this one. Mental health, death, finances, other people's finances, taxes, investments. deep healing, sex, like what else? What else do we got going on here? And that's how you know, like, sex and money, like love and money or desire is like so linked. So we are in the 8th house here. Oh, finally a break from whatever's been going. You've had to really face how you make money, your investments head on. You may have found like that if you have been investing, or if you want to start investing, you may find a natural instinct for it. But it doesn't mean that you don't lose, right? You're learning to really take risks in this area of your life and utilizing your resources in this way. And it could be a catalyst for deep healing, or deep healing was a catalyst for this. But either way, you're healing your mind. There's something that you've been deeply processing in this area for such a long time, and it had to do with communication, maybe the way you communicate with yourself and how that comes off to others, and vice versa. How that really does mean something. And now you're really facing it. It's coming to a head. You're realizing how it hindered your intuition. Maybe it's caused your gut to also have flummox over the past year. Maybe you find yourself needing to clear it out. Maybe it was an imbalance in an alignment. Maybe the nervous system was involved, but there's something that's pushing you, moving you forward in this way. For others of you, you could find another job if you've been searching, or you know, Aries, maybe you're just out and about, you're talking and you meet, you know, the right person at the right time. I know that's a little more Libra, but this feels like this could be a good change in these, especially those areas of life. And if maybe you meet someone you want to go into business with, or you want to start something new, that could also be it. And this is a great time to start. And Neptune and Aries, it's a great time to build. It's a great time to allow yourself to experiment in these ways, because you're going to have that Neptune energy on your side. So tap into that intuition in these areas, and maybe you find yourself maybe even completely shifting the way you work. It doesn't have to be your career. This isn't your career house, but the way you work, the way you make money. Maybe you find different avenues. I would love that for you. I know you want it, Virgo. I know you love that. You know, some people want to do specific things. Some people really just want to make different areas of income. This is your time. Let's get a card. Let's get a card for you. This might be a couple. Sorry, I'm not even going to look. It's too many cards. Sorry. Let's get a little clearer, Virgo rising. If they come again, I'll read it. Don't worry. All right. Whoa. Well. And look, we have at the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. I know if you don't like Drake, I'm sorry, but there's just so many songs. Yeah, it's time to build. Whatever can get you out from behind this wall. You've been back here enough. You've observed enough. It's time to now experience. It's time now to build, to see what you've been seeing and move it forward. The eclipses are moving into your sign. You know, things, you know, 1st house, 7th house are going to have their own experience. You're going to have your own experience, especially with your 1st house and your identity. And I think if you focus on these things, on how you want to make money, how you want to communicate with people, how you want to put yourself out there, what you want your legacy to be, your longevity, what you're building, and how that actually can help shape you along the way. Because the thing about most signs, but especially the feminine, the earth signs, Virgo, there's something about your energy right now. I hope it's going well. I feel very relaxed. Okay. You may have been contemplating something for a while, and finally you can move on this energy, because it's just the feeling, the timing, the energy, the momentum, the money, everything is right. And even if it's not perfect and it's not exact, you have this feeling to move on it, and you need to trust that. You need to trust that. Trust yourself. Trust what you're sensing. Trust what you've processed. Remember, deep healing. Your things are moving. Maybe you need to write some things out. you're going to have a few ideas too. This isn't the first. So having this momentum is starting an idea, even if that idea changes, right? Maybe that the first idea isn't the best or the one, but you're still moving on it. You're still in momentum. So then when you can stop, so this is where you learn to stop and be shaped as an earth sign, is to know that like you don't need to finish that thing if that's not the thing and you're being guided and shifted over there. You haven't been in a long-term commitment with that thing. You know, it's okay to like just put it down. You can pick it back up. You can pick it back up, and maybe it's just whatever that form of creation. So maybe it's writing. It just helps you flow more. And then you actually really love to talk to people about these things. Maybe you really like to talk to people. Maybe you like to make videos. Maybe you like to make videos about these things. Maybe, you know, there's just so many things. Like, how can this shape your identity? Don't just be stuck on one way of thinking, especially if you want to make videos. There's so many things you could talk about. You don't have to be pigeonholed. There's so many things you know. Share it. Share it with us. Share it with us, Virgo. We want to know. We want to know. All right. And that's how you climb. You got to get out there even more. And also, if you're with someone, if you're partnered, include them on it. They're your partner. They probably have the best insight. And if you already know that, then maybe it's like a monthly discussion. Maybe it's something, you know, just throwing it out there. All right. I don't think I missed anyone. No. Okay. Libra rising. We are now in your 7th house. Committed partnerships, one-on-one clients. This is legal matters as well. Marriage. Deep breaths. Something comes to term. So for some of you, you could be getting married. Or your status could be changing, right? You could be engaged, whatever it is. So that could be changing at this time, or you guys did as much as you could. And now, you know, maybe things need to shift. Maybe it's a renegotiation. Maybe it's an ending. Maybe it's a final closure. Maybe it's okay. So like, okay, it's time. Not like, okay, let me just stop there. But like, okay, it's time to just allow it to be, and you have to now drop legal matters, right? Maybe it's the ending of something and finally it's over. Finally, this legal battle is over, whatever's been prolonged or been drawn out for the last year to 6 months to a year. Because you've learned a lot about yourself. You really have. You've learned a lot about yourself. And your partner or your ex-partner's perception of you, you may find, because it's Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, maybe you've already experienced, I've talked to you in your reading already, maybe people have been coming back. Maybe old situations have come back through different people, or same people, similar situations. Maybe if it's clients or one-on-one, your intimate connections, maybe it's you redefining your boundaries, redefining yourself, right? So whatever is going on in these areas of your life, you've had to take accountability and you've had to take action very forward. So you're finding that you're in constant need of making decisions, which adds more security to yourself, which is really important. So you may be either deepening or ending something at this time, and just know that whatever it is and whatever happens, it may not feel like that today. And I know it's only just a few days away, but I'm telling you, it's just depending on where it's transiting through your 7th house. Again, if it's not close to any degrees or you don't have any planets there, it may not be overwhelmingly, you may not like sense this or feel this in an overwhelming sense, is what I mean, or strongly. But there will be this air of, you know, what you deserve and what you don't. And if you're not partnered, right? I didn't even talk about the single people. If you're not partnered, maybe you meet someone, or maybe you've been meeting people. And I know it sounds wild, but maybe around this time you meet someone and there's really a real spark there, even though it's a retrograde. Because it doesn't mean they have to be your person forever. right? This could be the next best person, or they can develop into that person. But whatever it is, you're experiencing love differently. You're experiencing your connections differently. And it's because of the work that you've chosen to do if you've done it. And your intuition and the way you feel is very content. And what this brings is a wave of energy for whatever you've been not had time for because you've been investing your time elsewhere. Venus is also money. So this energy, this content, acceptance of where you're at in your love life, whether you're single or with someone, there's such emotional security. You've been deeply focused on your emotional security. And if you haven't been specifically, it has been showing up for you to address in areas where you may look back and go, oh, like that's what I've been doing all the time. Yeah, that's what you've been doing all the time. You've been finding the security with your own intuition because you know things, and you've allowed other people to influence you way too much. And now you have this and you've had this before, but you have this deeper sense of security within what it is that you want to create. And you've possibly already started, and now you're putting in that time and energy, and it's giving you time and energy back. Because when you're in something that and you're present, like I'm here now, like, oh my God, 51 minutes have gone by. It feels like maybe 20, maybe 10, right? Like it doesn't feel like I've been doing this for 50 minutes straight. And you realize that whatever it is that you like to put your energy into, this is that magical time. This is that energy you want to give. And whoever you're with is very supportive, or maybe during this time, you meet that person. You know? You're just feeling yourself right now, Libra. And you should. You just can, and maybe you meet a person. It doesn't have to be the person. But this is a great time, because any energy that you put into yourself, your future, your creations will plant seeds for a while, even if it doesn't stay in the specific realm. That's not the important part right now for everybody. It's not about being specific, it's about starting. Aries, it says, let's fucking go. Let's go, Libra. It's time. We've been putting in that work, and others as well have been putting it in on you guys. So Libra rising, good luck. I look forward to talking to you soon. Scorpio rising, sun, moons, if you so inclined to be here. 6th house, work, health, pets, service, your area of service. This has been going on for a while. You've been learning a lot at work, especially about communicating. Maybe you even changed jobs, right? If something's going on with your pet, something is finally resolved, maybe even some good news about it, especially about their physical health. Your health too. You may hear some really good news about your health as well, and like whatever you've been needing to take care of, because you've taken care of it, it's actually, maybe you're even surprised at the results that come back to you. And I think it's really important, Scorpio. I don't know why I'm saying this to you, but you expand your mind on your expectations. Even if someone else gives you an expectation, your healing powers, 6th house, Aries, but and that's all Mars energy with your own Mars energy. Your healing powers and your instinct sometimes can go beyond the expectations. I think sometimes we don't realize that we're given these expectations or certain things because other people don't want us to look beyond or think about miracles or get our hopes up. But this is a time where you can do that. There's a lot that has been going through your mind, and now you get to come to some kind of conclusion. You come to a decision. You have many realizations about how your health impacts your work and vice versa. It comes to a head, dare I say. It comes to a head, and you've been waiting for the right time to do whatever it is that you need to do. And maybe for some of you, this is working at the same place in a different way, moving on, or adding something else as well. Your day-to-day work, right? This is your day-to-day life. What that looks like could be shifting. You can find that you're your instincts and your natural instinct to move on and shift becomes very heightened, and it would be really smart of you to listen to it. Whatever that is, even if it feels extreme. Because in a few months, it's not going to feel extreme. It's going to be like, oh, this is what I want to dedicate my time to for the next so many years. So, just a thought, Scorpio. All right, we have the 6th house. I flipped them upside down. I'm always honest as I can be. So, Ace of Wands, King of Pentacles, King of Cups, 9 of Cups. This is about you being very content, yet also there is a risk that you're wanting to take. We have 2 cards of insight at the bottom of the deck. This is only going to shape your intuition. This is only going to keep you healthy. Your intuition is a big part of your health now. And if you want to move on or present an idea to make more money, right? Maybe this is just a good place in your life and you're not wanting to like rock the boat, but all of a sudden you just have idea after idea, or this just great, strong feeling, this intuition. And it only can come to you when you're feeling more emotionally stable. And because whatever has been needing to smooth out and whatever it is wrapping up at this time, you may be getting some good news about this as well. It really matters how you choose to present yourself. For those of you, it may feel very surprising at how secure you feel about the next moves you're about to make, about the ideas that you want to express. Because everything you've done up until now, Scorpio rising, has been getting you prepared to feel worthy, that you're meant to do this, to feel so secure with yourself that you know that you're ready to take this risk. This feels like emotionally guided, but it's also a divinely guided time. And yeah, your emotional health is your key link. If you actually are not happy wherever you are in your life, whether it's with yourself, mentally, or at work, or your health, your whole being, or at work, it's finally ending, but it's also drawing you to, like, sometimes we need to heal our bodies in order to know our purpose. It's preparing you to then move forward into your purpose. Some people find it during it, but I believe Scorpios have this, as deeply intuitive and mysterious as you are, you have this step-by-step nature to an extent. It's not like Capricorn where you're climbing. It's kind of like, oh, I've been doing this and now I'm realizing this is something I'm supposed to, yeah, okay. Now I can make a plan. Now I can strategize, right? All right, Scorpio, good luck, good luck. Sagittarius, 5th house. Ooh, creativity. Ooh, romance. Children. Pleasure. Whatever has been like holding your energy back from pleasure, whatever you've been in the mind or needing to tend to within yourself, or whatever you've been afraid of, tests and romance, pleasure, your creativity, even children, your inner child, however that shows up, it's all connected. It's all connected, and it's possible you just haven't been able to get out of your head. And we don't know, Sagittarius rising in your head, or Sagittarius in your head, believe it or not, those signs get in their head as well, which is why sometimes like you have a hard time listening or remembering remembering things about other people, because you don't realize how, depending on where the Sag is at there in your head, but you're now coming to an end with that cycle. You feel, for those of you who have gotten more embodied and have been doing what you've needed to do, feeling pleasure gets you in your body. Being in any kind of romance in your life, however you like to create it, because I know you do, and that getting into that creative energy is whether you're partnered or not, right? Whether you're out here you know, doing your thing or not dating, right? That energy is flowing differently. You've been addressing whatever's held you back, whatever's been stuck in your head. You've been processing some things that, some doubts or some fears that also have held you back in these areas, or, you know, knowing the difference in your gut of like, if this is familiar pattern, or if this is, which is whether it's healthy or not. So we're going to talk about not. If this is a familiar pattern that's unhealthy, knowing the difference between that feeling and going towards something new and that is healthy, and adjusting to that if you haven't. And how, you know, you've separated your body and your head to an extent, and now that it's really coming back together. I do think that whether you've had a child, or you've been more in your creative energy, or finding that pleasure, whichever, or, you know, dating more, being more romantic, dating yourself more, if that's something that you've been doing, any of those areas over the past year, 6 months, 2 years, especially right now, any of that is going to come to a very full circle moment for you coming up. And then you'll begin to also, Neptune moving into Aries, you begin to develop a more physical sense for this, a more understanding in your mind of your dreams, of your way that maybe you escape and that you're not in your body. And that's why it's really important to practice any one of these things in your life, or all of them, right? To be able to, maybe it's even just working with children, being around children, maybe that's something you do, that helps you really find, you know, the passion within. So even if you've started a passion or started to express it, maybe it becomes more legit. Maybe you start making money off of it. Maybe you're, you know, wanting a child now. Maybe you're starting to date more. Maybe you're going to meet someone that, for lack of a better word, sweeps you off your feet. Could be. Either way, I would be careful about how you romanticize, because you might, you know, actually manifest it into your life. And that doesn't mean that that's like, it's not a bad thing, right? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. So those are the areas in which, you know, things have showed up, and now you're seeing what it's been. Oh, we have the Hangman. Yeah. You've been integrating, you've been processing whatever's held you back from experiencing more in those areas, or where you've needed to become disciplined in those areas. Either way, it's healing your mind greatly, right? He's also shaped like a 4, Jupiter. What you've been learning, you're being taught how to be in your body even more, what's held you back, what's been safe and what's not. I know in your reading this month, we talked about disarming. And I think this really goes along with that, interestingly enough. I didn't even really think about it. Maybe in the reading we thought about it, but it's just, you may feel a calmness or a more centered version of yourself. You may be experiencing more of that within yourself, a more embodied version of yourself. And as a fire sign, it's almost like, how have you not felt this way? But it just feels like whatever, you know, density or fluid has been, like, not missing, but I guess missing, all of a sudden just you get flooded with it. Like, in this week leading up to it, you may have like such a great idea, or you might be even recognized for this area of your life some way, somehow. I'm really excited. This is like it feels spontaneous. Even though like you've been processing and feeling great, it's almost like, duh, something's gonna happen, maybe, perhaps. But really, it's like you are processing, digesting, and you're preparing for whatever shift you're about to take in your life. Because I think for a lot of you, I think for anyone, but I don't know, I just feel I've been praying for you guys a lot. Because whatever you're experiencing, it could seem small to another sign, but to you, it's a big one, and it's important. So we'll talk in your reading, Sag. Okay. Capricorn, 4th house, parents, caregivers, foundation, your home. Are you moving? Do you want to move? That could be coming. Emotional security, ancestry. Okay, so maybe you've been really dealing with some patterns within yourself and needing to reparent yourself, really decide like, and even see like things that have come up that you didn't realize you took on from your parents. And if you're in a relationship or you're dating, usually those unconscious things can come out and we don't even realize, you know, that they're there sometimes, or they just become more apparent. Maybe you're looking more into your ancestry and you're wanting to know your lineage. Maybe something is communicated to you some way, somehow. Maybe it's even like through your own intuitive knowing. There is a necessary information that influences the way that you go about your foundation and your home, and that also is a part of your emotional security. And at this time, whatever's been looping in your head is going to come to this conclusion. Maybe even a healing in the mind, something that you've been dealing with for a while. You finally are just like, okay, enough of this. I now see, I am aware enough. I Aries, in the 4th house, am in control of what I can control, and this is how I want to build the foundation. It becomes very clear to you, you know, what part you want to take in this. And for those of you, you might be looking for, you might be moving homes, perhaps for some of you right now at this time too. Very interesting, Capricorn rising. Either way, there's a wrapping up of what's been going on with your emotional security with yourself that had to do with either your upbringing or the way that you've laid out your foundation, and have really needed to take a look at that and change things on your end. And whatever's been going in constantly on your mind, you're finally becoming very disciplined to that, because that's the Aries, and you instinctually know that you need to, and you've been doing the work, and you need to address this in a way that is very healing for you, okay? And, you know, also for some of you Capricorns, you may even hear from a caregiver, parent, or someone that you really respect in your life, or you know, you may even hear from an ancestor via ether if you feel more tapped in, or you wanting to connect more. This could be a great time even to do like past life regression or something of that sort that you've been feeling called towards. If not, doing this internal healing, you may invite a different kind of approach with a parent that may bring a lot of joy or healing, conclusion, validation, understanding, whatever it is really good for you as the father sign. It's really good for you and for your healing. So I look forward to that, Capricorn. Look forward to hearing from you. All right, Aquarius, 3rd house, short-term travel, communication, siblings, extended family, your day-to-day rituals, people that are close to you as well. You may have some kind of communication that really wraps up anything that's been going on for 6 months to a year, maybe even longer, to do with a family member. You may even be solidifying your day-to-day life if things have been kind of up in the air, or even needing to be very flexible. Maybe you establish a routine. Maybe your routine is to be flexible. You know, shit happens. You may have to go somewhere. You may have to take a short-term trip this weekend. Maybe it's out of nowhere. Maybe it's been planned, but either way, be very careful. Make sure that you be careful when you're going wherever you're going, of course, but also when wherever you're going, that may be the communication. Maybe during the car ride I'm talking more spiritual things. You may receive information, maybe receive a sign of some sort that is helping solidify this change that's been happening within your close relationships, even if it's for the better. So if you've struggled with for the better, it's becoming a lot easier at this time. And if it's been if you're usually on that side and it's been a little more difficult, things are going to wrap up in that way as well. Maybe the short-term trip is closing up a chapter at a job or with a parent. You know, maybe you're helping someone else move, who knows. Either way, it's going to be really good for your ego, whatever is being communicated at this time. It doesn't have to be a problem, but if there has been problems, even underneath subconsciously, things could shift. And maybe there's an opening to talk about it. Maybe you don't need to. I'm a proponent for communication, but it really depends. Sometimes you have to read the room, maybe just let things naturally take their course, right? Doing only what you can do, what you can control at this time. So let's pull a card for you, Aquarius. For some of you, you've been needing to express something for a while, and for some reason it keeps coming up in your mind. Trust your intuition on the timing. You know, you can even ask someone, you know, is this a good time? Something's coming up for me and I really want to talk to you about it. It could be a very close person or a sibling. So just trust that, because you're an air sign, you're a communicator. It's really important. And Aries, Libra access, it's so important to learn that your communication is necessary and to be open to it, even if it is a little rocky. It might bring you closer. And also, maybe you're communicating something to the world via social media. It is a Gemini house, so maybe you're freeing yourself, freeing your communication and healing if you've had any difficulties in that area. So, all right, Aquarius rising. Sorry, too many cards. I'm not doing that many cards. Aquarius rising, third house. Well, thanks for being concise. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Weirdly enough, sometimes we don't realize we're communicating to the right person at the right time, or we're doing something instinctually that we didn't think maybe we were going to have to do, but then maybe and then decided okay, whenever it comes up, and all of a sudden it's coming up, and it's almost as if it's unlocking whatever's to come next, that maybe by doing that, all of a sudden you have so much, because it's been taking up so much space by avoiding it. Even if you didn't feel like you were avoiding it, maybe you were. And because you've aired it out in the way necessary, there's an opening maybe in your money. Maybe you're being more disciplined in some area, maybe putting up more boundaries that brings in more money. You know, maybe you're acting on a new adventure and that is going to bring more money, especially over time. This is an investment in yourself. And yes, we have boundaries, and it looks like you may have needed to put up boundaries with another person who's extremely emotionally intelligent, and maybe you're very close to, or maybe it's to the part of you that needs to balance things out emotionally and mentally. And now that you have, to the extent that you have been able to, now maybe you come into money. You know, maybe you also come into money from someone as well, or someone wants to invest in you. Maybe you want to invest in someone else, right? There's communication that happens, and because of it, more money is involved, more ideas is involved. Maybe you feel a fresh start with your worth. Maybe you didn't realize how much this conversation or this communication to whomever it is was the key to locking in your worth, to locking in this next venture, to this confidence, to this portal of money, ideas, abundance, and knowing your value. Knowing your value. If they don't, you better tell them, Aquarius. All right, Pisces, last but not least, Pisces rising. This is in your second house of your skills, your money, your resources, your talents, all of that good stuff. Material things, your well-being, which is also resources, your well-being. Pisces risings, you've had a lot of interesting moments with money where you've had to, you've had to, you know, spend a little more. You've had some things come up where you've had to, you know, spend some things. But I think more than ever, this made you so resourceful that now at this Aries, this final closeout of this Aries eclipse portal, you are very much more in control of this. That you're not just acting out of, maybe there was some fear, maybe there was some desperation, maybe there was some just issues, especially like coming back to you. Like, it's not anything, you can only control you. And once you really dwindle that down and learn that you can only do that, because this has brought you here to this moment, you've learned that, you know, you actually like to be a little bit more in control of your money as well, and what you put out there. And it's going to be easier to have ideas put out there. It's going to be easier for you, and being more physical. So if you're someone who does have a side gig or is running a business, or, you know, has multiple streams of income, asking for a raise at this time, or any areas where you have improved your skills, don't be afraid to say it, to show up, to show your face, to confront. I don't mean confrontation, but to confront it, right? Ask for what if you don't feel like you're being given what you deserve, ask for it. Also pray. Maybe people, if you have your own business, maybe people are just wanting to give you more money, and it's just accepting it. That maybe other people have, maybe even Aries, have been coming into your life to show you your value and how to have authority over that without it being only ego driven, only self driven. It's more about how it helps you, and it also provides something for others as well. Like, it helps you, but your talents and your resources, it helps you to give them, and it also helps you to receive compensation or whatever that energy exchange is as well for them. So that's going to be heightened, sharpened, bringing things into the physical, maybe getting in front of the camera or showing exactly what you do to the world, right? Being very physical about it, head on about it. I think the more that you just do that, you get into a groove in your own intuition, and that's what then your instincts will just take over, and you'll have this natural ability to know that. You may even want to help people find their natural ability, and that becomes like just the gift that you continue to use in your life. 9 of Wands, 8 of Cups. Whatever you've been hiding about yourself, this is the time where you are moving on from anything emotionally that's been holding you back. This is also an eclipse moment. So you may have this wave of emotion. Finally, you're able to let go of it, because whatever you've been protecting, whatever you've been in front of but unsure of, you now realize that that's no way to live. And now you're moving forward and on from, even though you've put so much energy and time into this, you realize that it's just, you may just want to end it. And I do think this is more about where you give to others but you don't give to yourself, right? You've filled so many cups and you've helped so much, and you know, you got so far, but you've realized like this is not sustainable, and you can't keep, you know, hiding, or you can't keep wanting to do things and not doing them. So this kind of is that moment where you finally come to like this understanding of, it's very clear I need to do this. I need to move on. Whatever situation you're in, you're moving on emotionally from it. And that's why you've had to keep going, because the emotional part you may not have been able to see very clearly. But what you do know is that you can't keep carrying about what other people think in this way. This is just something, whatever it is, it's just something you have to do for yourself. So this does feel like maybe you've been offered something and you turned it down. Maybe, yeah, maybe you offered something, you turned it down. Maybe you've decided to really move on an idea because you can no longer hide from the fact that you're supposed to do this, but that may mean that you need to disappoint others. It's like you need to let go of whatever emotionally is really holding you back, keeping you from doing what you need to do. This eclipse moment is deeply personal and it will affect your resources, but it may be for the better. It just doesn't feel so good. And I know that's not always fun, but it will be, because you'll feel better, because you're being more honest with yourself about what you're capable of and what you desire. Okay? And what you've been processing. And now you're really like, okay, if this is the way that I need to wash my hands clean, I'm gonna move forward here. All right, Pisces. All information for everyone to work with me is below, to the end of this eclipse season and to the beginning of another, to a new era, to a new time. I hope this helps you and your energy move forward in your life, and we'll see you in the readings.